Today we are talking about goals. In our stories, we are going to brainstorm goals for Fogdancer. She is our halfling orphan who wants to learn about her past. Okay then. First, we have ideas about goals in general. And, we are wondering, where do our goals come from? How often do we sit down and think out what we should be working toward? Isn't it more often that we just do what we feel like? Like, we feel like we want something and so, we try to get that. So now, we think about what we want to do, but really, we aren't thinking at all. We are just reacting to our feelings. That's biology. And, well, maybe we just got thinking about biology because our hero, Fogdancer, is trying to find her biological parents. What do you think?
Hello. And welcome to our latest video. So we are Wild Art Fly Free and we are all about creativity. I am very happy that you could join us. We are building a world out of stories and we could really use your help. At least, we would really appreciate your feedback. As you watch this video, or some of our other videos, you might come to realize that we don't exactly know what we are doing. No, really, it's okay to mention it. We talk about that all the time. We are building a YouTube channel and none of us know anything about building a YouTube channel. So well, this can be stressful. One of the tricks to learning how to do something new is to have fun. So, that's one of our core strategies to building a world out of stories and a YouTube channel. We play. We work to keep it fun. We brainstorm story ideas and then we try to fit them together to make better stories.
We all have, plans, things we're working towards, and it helps with our stories if we can figure out what the goals are for each of our characters. And we're working with Fogdancer right now, the young adolescent female halfling. She is an orphan, but has a good family life with her adoptive parents. That would be Alex and Dawig. Both Alex and Dawig have money, so Fogdancer, while she started out poor, as far as we know, is now living a decently comfortable life with Alex and Dawig. Anyway, we want to think about what sort of goals a young female halfling might have. So there's a couple of ideas that we play with regarding biology. And as a young girl, or a adolescent girl, Fogdancer will probably play with the goal of finding a boyfriend, right? So she's got some social needs, she's got some urges, and well, that's what biology does for us. We have perpetual and deep-set urges to, one, stay alive, and two, propagate. That's because we are living organisms, and every living organism wants to survive and propagate. That's part of being alive. And that's true for every ancestor you've had all the way down to that little amoeba, or whatever it was we started out as. Anyway, so Fogdancer, deep down, always thinking about boys, sort of. So how much should we put that into our stories?
This village called Greenstones is mostly dwarfs, but not all dwarfs. Earlier, while our gnome bard, Wiggleheart, was settling in, she had seen a classy-looking human woman with a child who must have been a halfling. The young girl was just a little bit shorter than Wiggleheart herself, so was probably a teenager. Wiggleheart realized what had made her think about that halfling girl. She was just across the street now, looking at her. Then as the girl caught Wiggleheart's eye, they shared a quick smile and then looked away. The polite thing to do. But then, as Wiggleheart looked up at the girl was standing right in front of her. The little girl spoke.
Hello. My name is Fogdancer. I was wondering if I might ask you something. If you aren't busy. I mean.
Wiggleheart answered.
Oh, I'm not busy, Fog Dancer. My name is Wiggleheart. I am a bard. But, I bet you already knew that? Didn't you?
Fogdancer answered that interesting question.
Oh, yes. My mother and I watched you perform. You were very good. I liked how you could sing whatever words you wanted to. I mean, even if they weren't really a song. Oh, I mean, I guess they were a song, but not really, I mean. You just said them because they were the news. Sorry. Of course they were a song. I just mean, they weren't a song for very long.
Wiggleheart was interested and continued.
Oh, no. Fogdancer. You are exactly right, and you don't need to say sorry. And, thank you for the compliment. Actually, most of those verses have been around for at least some weeks. I do the same news at lots of towns. Do you sing? You have a very sweet voice, if you don't mind me saying.
Fogdancer tilted her head as she considered the bard's compliment.
Oh no. But thank you for the compliment. No, my family doesn't sing. But we do like to listen to other people sing, at least, when they sing as well as you do. But, could I ask you something? You know a lot, of course. You are a bard and you know a lot of things about a lot of stuff. Do you know much about the Halfling? Or the Howjaring? They are the cults, I know that. But, do you know what sort of things or people that they would be interested in?
Wiggleheart smiled, and then continued.
Oh my. Fogdancer, you certainly jump to a serious and complicated subject. Do you mind if I ask you what sort of information that you would be interested in? Why are you thinking about cults? Have you met someone from the Halfling or the Howjaring?
Fogdancer was only taken aback for a moment, but of course. Wiggleheart was a bard, so she must ask lots of people lots of questions. That is how she could know so much for her songs. So Fogdancer answered.
Oh, no. It isn't anything from here in Greenstones. Or anywhere near. And, no. I don't think that I remember talking to a cult member. At least, not that I know of. But, no. It's just some stories that I have heard about the cults. And, well, were you around Swanford? When everyone ran away? I don't know if I should tell you, so please don't sing it with the news. But, my mom and I were in Swanford that day. And, well, we didn't hear about the Harlequin when it was happening, but if they are now saying that they predicted the whole thing, well, it does make you think, doesn't it? I mean, if they knew it was going to happen, why didn't they come and tell us before it happened?
Fogdancer's question made Wiggleheart think, but being very practiced in interviewing people, she went on.
Oh my. Fogdancer. You do know a lot, don't you? I mean, no, I was still in my home country, Toonbag, when that happened. I only learn from what people tell me. Would you mind talking some more? Maybe I could offer you a cup of tea? And then we could sit down. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And then we could share what we both know about Swanford and about the cults. Would that be okay? I wouldn't want you to get into trouble with your mother. I am sure she is a wonderful person.
And so, Fogdancer spent some time with the bard, Wiggleheart. And they became friends, and Fogdancer learned a lot. She learned some things that Wiggleheart knew about the cults, but not enough for Fogdancer's questions. And Fogdancer also learned a lot about what it was like to be a bard and about asking people questions. And so, Fogdancer's story goes on.
Okay, another urge, another goal that Fogdancer might have, as many people do, is she wants to take care of a pet. She thinks that a lot of animals are cute and cuddly and a good friend. And, well, that's just more biology, isn't it? Part of the propagation instincts is to take care of the cute and cuddly. And eventually, that leads not just to the propagation, but to the survival of our offspring. So, will Fogdancer really want a pet? How much does she want a pet? And if she gets a pet, how will that mess with our stories? Okay, what other uh, goals might a young girl just going into adult have? Well, maybe she wants to make her mother proud, her adoptive mother Alex. This is a deeper, more sophisticated idea than just the biological urges. So Alex is Fogdancer's adoptive mother and not biological mother, which makes you think about how so often adoptive children really want to learn about their biological family. That biology really calls out to us, doesn't it? Okay, another goal she might have would be to keep Dawig in her life as her adoptive father. Alex and Dawig do not get along. They get along for Fogdancer's sake. What happens, though, if they get into a big argument over Fogdancer? Would that lead to Fogdancer feeling guilty? That might be an interesting idea to play with. Maybe that will drive Fogdancer more towards learning about her biological roots.
So we come to the question. Who is Fogdancer? Well, that is an interesting question, because while Fogdancer is definitely one of our main characters who we are very invested in, we don't know anything about her background before we found her. We think that she is an orphan, but maybe not. The first time we met Fogdancer, she was in the port city of Gurlid and she was being cared for by a middle-aged halfling named Silvermoon. But then Silvermoon must not have been overly attached to the girl, because when a wealthy merchant offered to take her away, Silvermoon agreed. As it turned out, the merchant was a villain named Dorenter. He took her north across most of the continent. But then, one of our other heroes, Tinkle, arranged for two cult followers, Grizzle and Kudik, to sneak her away from Dorenter to his hometown of Swamford. But then, almost as soon as Fogdancer got to Swamford, then Swamford came under a mysterious fearsome threat and most of the people left, including Fogdancer. So, this time the halfling child was in the care of the wealthy landlady, Alex, and the mad scientist, Heavybasher. They went away on a ship. But then, Alex didn't like the ship, while Heavybasher did, so that group split up and Alex met up with a rival landlord, Dowwig. So, that brings us to now. And we still don't know anything about Fogdancer that happened before she left Gurlid. So should we ask her? Well, maybe we will. What do you think she will say? Probably, Fogdancer won't remember anything from earlier, because that would destroy the mystery that we are building her story on. Anywho, let's just carry on and see how it goes.
So all of those goals will probably center on then, or lead to, learning about her past, as in what happened before, her earliest memories in Gurlad. She must have had biological parents. The man who raised her in Gurlad, the halfling, the middle-aged halfling, so right age, right race to be her father, but he says he was not her father. But does he know any more than that? That would be the person to talk to, and so that might be one of Fogdancer's goals, would be to find Silvermoon. Well, certainly that she would want to find Silvermoon. He was like a father to her, and she has questions and she cares about him, although perhaps maybe she might be a little angry that she let Dorenter take her away on some promises, and Fogdancer will have learned on the journey that Dorenter was not the kind of person that should be trusted with the life of a young child. Anyway, that's another story. So Fogdancer wants to learn about her past. That's a puzzle she can play with. Then she meets somebody called Wiggleheart, who is a bard, and Wiggleheart is a bit of a reporter, so she tries to dig into stories. And that brings us to the idea of Fogdancer wanting to become a detective, although she wouldn't know that's what it's called. Fogdancer will want to be an expert at solving puzzles and learning things like Wiggleheart, the bard, is. This all happens in the town of Greenstones. And we don't know how much will Fogdancer be able to learn. Could she possibly puzzle all this out while she's in Greenstones? They will have gone to Gurlad earlier. We're saying that probably they did not find Silver Moon when they went down there, or we would have to write the story more. But they will come back with a bunch of information that will be the puzzle bits for Fogdancer, and then she can meet some of the people, including Yixi, who will know some, and Grizzle and Kujek might come by. They might know some stuff that happened in Gurlad on that day. So perhaps she can puzzle out what happened on that day that we are calling the fog mist. Unfortunately, of course, she won't learn about her biological parents, but she might learn about why so many internationally important organizations and people are interested in her. Anyway, we have more about that story. See the links below.
Well, that's about all we have for Fogdancer's goals today. And now, we get to think about these ideas for a while. Then we will forget about most of these ideas. Eventually we will come back to Fogdancer's story and then we will look back at what we did here. In the meantime, if you have any wild and crazy ideas that we can add to the brainstorming, please share. Or, if you have fallen in love with any of these ideas, well, you can share that too. Of course, we don't want to fall in love too soon, that's part of the reason that this process takes time. But, if you are sure about any ideas, please tell us that too. We are listening. I promise. Okay. Now then. As we are uploading this video about Fogdancer's goals, we have another video about the chaos that we might put in Fogdancer's path to keep things interesting. So, look in the description for links to that video and maybe some others that we want to promote. So, now it is late enough. We can remind you about liking and subscribing, so thank you for that. And take care of yourself and please, don't break stuff. Unless of course, it needs breaking. Bye.